Hey everybody, it's me, Shallow360. How are you? I'm good. I just wanted to come on live. I have non-K-pop thoughts that I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to make sure that anyone who was expecting me to talk about K-pop wouldn't be disappointed if I don't. So that's why this is called Random Non-K-pop Thoughts. Um, but I will say on the K-pop front, I have a couple of packages coming, so I'm excited. I think I told you guys about how I bought Shiny's SM Winter thing. Well, I have 4 copies coming in the mail, so I'm excited for those to come because I didn't pull Minho on anything, and so I'm hoping that by getting 4 more, I'll pull him somehow, some way. But that's neither here nor there. That's the only K-pop thing I have to talk about. I'm not going to be talking about anything else K-pop wise. What actually made me think about doing this live stream, honestly, was just going to tell you about kind of like stuff that's going on in my household, some stuff I've been working on with Mason, just some general stuff that I thought was interesting, that I thought would be good conversation. So hey Tara, the first thing I thought I'd talk about is Mason and I, because if you guys aren't aware, Mason, he's got a channel here on YouTube, and I have the hiccups now. The channel is BL_Kiki, and we talk about boys love there, and we talk about music there as well. And so I wanted to tell you guys about that because I know a lot of you who watch my channel, you don't care about the BL stuff, and I get it. That's fine. You don't have to care about the BL stuff. We're going to still be friends. But for those of you who do care about the BL stuff, we just did a review of the TV show Bad Buddy. It's a series that's airing on GMM TV in Thailand. We did a whole review of that. And before we did that review, we did at least an hour long talk about FX, the K-pop group. So if you want to talk about K-pop stuff, but you don't really want to deal with the other, we did a whole deep dive into FX. We did a deep dive into Madonna. We're going to be doing Mariah Carey soon. So like we're doing different things on his channel, but I highly recommend you go check it out because we have a great time, and Mason is my friend and he's one of my favorite people to talk to. So I thought I'd talk about it. Also, we did a review of the movie The Color Purple because even though it's a BL chat, we talk about stuff that's GL as well. And for those that you don't know, BL means boys love, GL means girls love, and basically it shows that have kind of a queer perspective and involve some romance between people who identify as being the same sex. So we did those reviews on Mason's channel, and we did one on The Color Purple because there is a canon pansexual character in the movie. So we do a review about the movie. Also, a little bit of a personal chat over there. So if you want to check it out, I highly recommend it. But yeah, that's me advertising the stuff that we do on the weekends. It's a good time. Personal stuff. Things will have to be changing over here pretty soon because I am going to be moving in 2 months. I'm going to be moving out of my place. My landlord came back with my renewal and it is sky fucking high. They want to increase my rent by $250 a month, which is a lot of money to me. May not be a lot of money to you, but it's a lot of money to me. So I'm going to have to move out of here, which means that I am going to be having to get ready to get rid of a lot of my K-pop stuff. A lot more K-pop stuff than I was anticipating. I'm still going to keep everything shiny. Every single shiny thing I have, I'm going to keep, except for like the extra copies of stuff I have. Like I have some extra Japanese shiny stuff. I have some extra Korean shiny stuff. I have a lot of extra stuff that I'll be getting rid of. But all of my base collection I'm going to keep. I actually have an extra Jonghyun Shia's album that I need to get rid of. Not get rid of, but I need to sell it. But yeah, that's happening. Excuse me. But I have like other K-pop stuff I need to get rid of as well. I already told you guys that I'm not collecting BTS stuff anymore. Like I might buy an album here and there, but I'm not collecting Rapmon's cards anymore. And I did have somebody that left me a message on my video where I first said that I was going to quit collecting that. And they asked me if I had the pre-order BTS World card. I think I have it, but I got to double check. But anyway, on to other things. I'll be moving soon, so that's something I'm gonna have to work on is trying to pare down my collection, get stuff packed up, and then I don't know what my filming situation will be until I get into another place because I haven't even gone place shopping yet. So I got to do that first, but that'll be a big change in my life. And then I guess the other thing that's really going on is just like, I don't know, living post COVID. I wanted to talk about that real quick because I don't know that I necessarily am feeling better. Like I am definitely feeling better than I was when I first suspected I had COVID. Like the very first day I suspected I had COVID, I remember coughing a little bit, but not really understanding why I was coughing because my throat didn't hurt, my nose wasn't congested, like nothing was really going on. It almost felt like I had a tickle, you know? Then after that, the Monday and Tuesday after that day, the COVID was just it was destroying me. Like my head, I had a headache, body chills, muscle aches. I had muscle cramps. Like I had a cramp in my side and I had a cramp in my leg. I needed to pee all the time. I was feverish. I mean, just everything was going on. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been dealing with sinus stuff. So like I've had a lot of sinus drainage every single morning. I was coughing up stuff for like the first week after the fever broke. Like I would just cough and like a mouth full of phlegm. It was disgusting. But having had COVID now, I have to say I feel a lot more relaxed. I do. And I feel bad about that a little bit because like I was never a COVID denier. There were people who were like, "Oh, COVID's nothing more than a flu. It's not a big deal, whatever else." I was always one of those people like I desperately don't want to get COVID. I'll do anything I can to keep from getting it. I'm going to wear my mask every single place. Like I was that girl. But now that I've had COVID, I just feel so much more relaxed. Like, seriously, I just feel like I can let my guard down. And I think part of that is because, like, I'm not scared of getting it anymore. And don't get me wrong, I am still going to get my booster. I have to wait 90 days to get it, so I'll probably be getting it in April. But I I just feel like at this point in the game, that fear that at any moment it would be coming for me, that's gone now. And now that that's gone, and I'm not afraid that like everywhere I go, I'm in danger, I just feel like I can finally breathe again. And I feel a little guilt about that. I feel guilt about that. I feel guilt about that because like sometimes I want to go in the grocery store without a mask because I know I've had COVID and I know I'm no longer contagious with COVID. So that is the reason why I'm like, I'd love to go in and just be like, it's okay, guys, I've already had it. But then I know what the appearance of that is. And I don't want to go into a store with no mask and have people believe that I'm one of those folks who doesn't believe a mask is necessary in public, because I do. And so I don't know. It's weird. Like I feel like I should have. I feel like I wish I had a badge or something that says like, I just recently got over COVID. I'm safe now. But yeah, like that's a thing that I feel more so than ever is like I feel like now I can kind of go back to the way things used to be, but I also know that that's not true. I can't go back to the way things used to be. And I say that because I also know that I could still get COVID again. There's a lot of people who will tell you that they've had COVID reinfections. Also, even though I've already had COVID now, I'm afraid of having long COVID. Like it's been 2 weeks now. Actually, it's been 16 days since I had my first severe COVID symptoms, and every once in a while I can feel my heart beating fast and I get scared. I get scared that I'm going to have long lasting respiratory or yeah, with my lungs. I'm worried about having cardiovascular issues with my heart. I'm worried about all those things. So even though like the main worry of catching COVID and that being around the corner, that worry is gone now. But the new worry I have is that I might have damaged my body in a way that I won't be able to recover from like I would if I had the flu or if I had a cold. So, those are things that are topmost in my mind right now, and it's very hard to completely relax, but I do feel better than I have in a while. Like I don't feel as kind of under the gun as I did before. Other things that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I had heard on a podcast that I found really interesting. I wanted to talk about what's our business, because I was listening to The Read, which is a podcast I listen to all the time, and they were talking about the actress Regina King. And she's been an actress for many, many years. I remember when I was a kid, she was on a show called 227, and she played the teenage daughter on that show. So I think she's around 50. She has a son who is in his mid 20s, was in his mid 20s, and he passed away recently. He passed away from self harm. And a lot of news outlets were reporting the news and, like breaking news, like that kind of thing. And this podcast was saying how, we need to be more sensitive about the fact that this lady's son was not a celebrity. Yes, she was a celebrity, but he was not. And reporting on his passing in this kind of very salacious way is disrespectful to her and is disrespectful to him, because it's really just reporting it for clicks and for views and not reporting it because it's actually a news story. And I totally get that. I absolutely get that. But it made me think about like the kind of news that we get sometimes when you are someone who follows pop culture. Like the kind of news that we get sometimes as a person who follows pop culture is crazy. The news that we crave as people who follow pop culture is insane. So I was listening to that story on this podcast while at the same time hearing this story about Cardi B, the rapper, winning a lawsuit against a YouTube vlogger, a tabloid type YouTube vlogger. And again, I was like, that's interesting. It was interesting. So, Cardi B, the rapper, she filed a defamation lawsuit against a YouTube vlogger by the name of Tasha K. And she filed this lawsuit because apparently Tasha K had been saying wild stuff about Cardi B that was completely unfounded. She said Cardi B was on hard drugs, Cardi B was cheating on her husband, Cardi B had herpes, Cardi B had done sexual acts with inanimate objects, like just anything you could think of that is like wild and unbelievable and slut shamey. Tasha K was reporting about Cardi B according to the details of this lawsuit. And Cardi B had reported that at a time when her daughter was first born, that things had really kicked up a notch and like a lot of stuff was being said about her. And she was feeling like harming herself because of the amount of negative attention and the amount of like lies being told about her. So she took this lady to court and she actually won this defamation suit and won $1 million in damages plus $250,000 in medical expenses, not even including like paying for legal fees or punitive damages. And I found it to be a very interesting case because why would this YouTube vlogger person tell the world all of these hyper vulgar things about Cardi B? Like what would this vlogger get out of that? And I think you know the answer because I know the answer. What she got out of it was clicks and views. This vlogger has 1 million subscribers. And so making up stories about Cardi B when the truth wasn't exciting enough drives traffic to your channel. If you're the first person to report, oh, I heard that Cardi B A, B, C, and D, or I talked to this person who knows Cardi B and they told me A, B, C, and D. When you get to that point and you're chasing the subscribers, you're chasing the clicks, you're chasing all these things, the question then becomes, why do people want that? Why do people want that? Why could she get to 1 million subscribers reporting what's clearly lies, reporting the worst stuff that's not even news? It's not news. How is it news to find out that Cardi B might have an STI or an STD? How is that news? Because it doesn't affect the economy. It doesn't affect what her music sounds like. It doesn't affect people who don't sleep with her. Like, it affects nobody. But that's news. Like, the stuff that we view as news now is the most ridiculous bullshit. And bringing it back, not wanting to bring it back to K-pop, but kind of bringing it back to K-pop. The news about Taemin and his anxiety and depression. In Korea, your personal life is a big part of news. And so with Taemin transferring from the military band to being a public servant, that was news to Korea because of Taemin's idolhood. If any other plain man changed positions in the military, no one would give a damn. If any other man had medical conditions, nobody would give a damn. But because of celebrity, this is the news people crave. Because this news affects the opinion that people have about the celebrity. And we consider it news if it affects our opinion about a celebrity. Whether it's a non-criminal act, an act that doesn't hurt anybody, an act that doesn't affect anybody else, we need to hear it because we need to make up our minds about whether this person is worthy of their fame. Even though maybe they got famous because they're a really good singer or they're a really good rapper or because they're a great model or a designer or whatever else, we have to dig in deeper. We have to know a little bit more than what really we truly and honestly are entitled to. And I just find it really weird that our society is in that place. I do. I find it super weird. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that every personal thing that a celebrity does should be protected. For instance, people like Bill Cosby, people like Jeffrey Epstein, people like Harvey Weinstein, people who are committing sexual crimes against people, they're committing crimes. And it is news that celebrities are breaking the law. I absolutely believe that. You know, when everything happens with Army Hammer, when that all finally gets put into court, when all the stuff with Marilyn Manson gets put into court, I feel like it is important for us to know that our celebrities are around here sexually abusing women or children or whoever else they're laying hands on. I think it's super important. But I think that outside of that, who gives a fuck? Honestly, if you and your girlfriend break up, unless you guys breaking up breaks up the channel, like if you have a YouTube channel and we broke up, therefore our YouTube channel is going to be split up, that makes sense. If you have a brand that involves being a couple and the couple splits up, that makes sense because that's actual news, because that changes something about the celebrity's status, maybe as a celebrity. But this other petty stuff that people are making up just to have some news, or stuff that affects the celebrity personally but affects nobody else, why do we have to report that? Why do we have to be privy to everyone's low moments? So Sarah left a note about, I feel the same about Nick and Priyanka Chopra's announcement of their child's premature birth. People were very mean on Twitter and TikTok about the fact that they asked for privacy at this time. Again, we're just lucky that these people even told us about their child. What does their child have to do with fame? That child is an innocent. That child didn't ask to be famous. That child was brought into the world because it was thought it would give joy to their parents. But that child has nothing to do with the people who consume Nick Jonas's music or Priyanka Chopra's acting career. So why are we giving them flack? Why are we criticizing? Why are we condemning? Why are we even bothered about the fact that their child was born premature? If anything, us knowing about that should be only to say, if you could give us good thoughts, we'd appreciate that. That's really it. So again, people are weird. People are weird. Sarah also, different Sarah says, also that influencer and her family being attacked over fake brand bags and clothes. Gia, yes. Unless this person makes it a career to say, I have all the luxurious stuff, why would we be worried about them having a fake bag or fake clothes? Honestly, why would be concerned? Like, I would get it if the person we're talking about is, I'm trying to think here. Who would be a good YouTube? Okay, a YouTube example of somebody that we might care about. I'm thinking a James Charles. If a James Charles comes on his YouTube channel and he's got on, a Fendi jogging suit and he's carrying a Louis Vuitton bag and like, oh, look at my fabulous new stuff. Look how amazing this is. And then we find out it's fake. I could see people saying that that's news because this person has made their career about showing off luxury goods, and we find out that the luxury goods aren't real. That I could see that being a news story. I could see if, Jeffree Star did the same thing. People like, oh wow, you say you have this huge Hermes bag collection, but it turns out all your Hermeses are fake and it's all a fraud. And you've been perpetrating a false personality because as that does affect your celebrity. That actually does affect your celebrity. But if this is somebody who is a K-pop idol, who's probably being dressed by other people, who is probably being told that the things they're being given are authentic, what the fuck does it matter if they've got a fake bag or fake clothes? If they're not in our faces bragging about, I got so much money that I went to the Gucci store and I bought these Gucci belts and these Gucci bags and look at all my beautiful things that you poors don't have. If they're not doing that, then what does it fucking matter? What does it fucking matter? I don't know if people remember. I'm sure you don't. But back when BTS first debuted, they wore fake off-white. Facts. They wore fake off-white when they debuted. And we don't talk about that anymore because what does it matter? Back then, they were a struggling K-pop act. Their wardrobe people said, I can get these things for you. And there it went. That was just it. And no one cares anymore. I mean, the days of BTS wearing fake off-white are long behind them. Like, long behind them. But that was a thing at one point. And I feel like getting mad at somebody because they got fake goods at this point in the game, it's stupid. It's dumb. It's just drama for drama's sake. It doesn't benefit anybody. It doesn't do anything good for people. It's just something that we insist on doing because we're fucking miserable. And we need to quit being so miserable. We need to find something else to do with our time. We need to stop giving clicks to this bullshit. I try my hardest when I see it not to retweet it. I try to stick with the stuff that's relevant to whatever the fuck's going on. But this other stuff, I really do try to leave it the hell alone. Because I'm not trying to dirty up me. Like, honestly, I'm thinking for me. I'm not trying to occupy my time and the little bit of air that I'm going to breathe on this planet for however much time I'm allowed to have. I don't want to waste that on some of this bullshit right here that doesn't affect me at all, doesn't change my opinion about a person, that just isn't a part of what I need to be concentrating on at the moment. And I hope that we'll all do the same. So I want to talk about that. What's the next thing I want to talk about? Trying to think what was the other thing that I had on my mind that I really want to talk about. I haven't seen Encanto yet. I keep telling myself I'm going to watch it eventually, but I've been debating on how I want to watch it. Stephanie's got Disney Plus, and I know she's already seen it, so I believe that she's rented it, but I haven't watched it with her. She watched it during the Christmas break when we weren't together, and I thought about going to see it in the movie theater, but I kind of don't want to give Lin-Manuel that kind of money. Listen, I don't hate Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't at all. I have no real feelings for Lin-Manuel Miranda in positive or negative. I really, really don't. I know a lot of people had a hard time about the fact that In the Heights did not have as many Afro-Latinas represented in the movie as they should have, but I'm not thinking that way. It's more the fact that, like, I'm not a big fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda's actual style of writing. And because I'm not a fan of his style of writing, I really don't want to contribute to his popularity. My daughter was a big Hamilton head when Hamilton was first kind of getting Grammys and Tonys and all that stuff. My daughter was a huge Hamilton head. She's still a very, very big fan of Hamilton. Like, she still knows all the lyrics to all the songs. And she also watched In the Heights, and she liked In the Heights. And she watched Hamilton when it got on Disney Plus many, 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 many times. And she liked the song from Moana, the You're Welcome song. She liked that. And so I've been hearing him a lot in my house. And I have to say, I am superbly unimpressed. I am superbly unimpressed. The We Don't Talk About Bruno song, I think, is probably the best song that I've heard of anything that Lin-Manuel Miranda has written, because I'm not tired of it just yet. But I've only heard the clips that have been on TikTok, to be honest with you. I haven't heard the whole song. And also, I feel like if hearing it enough times, I'd probably be just as sick of it as I am of all the rest of his compositions. Also, real talk, I wish that man would never sing again a day in his life. Like, Lin-Manuel Miranda has got one of the worst singing voices of anybody who's singing professionally in major entertainment. Now, there's people who have bad voices who sing for their friends and family. There's that one person in your church who thinks that they can sing, but we all know all they know how to do is holler. Like, we all have that one friend who, anytime the radio plays, like, oh, up! Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. We have that friend. We all have that. Lin-Manuel Miranda is that person, but like on Disney, on your television screens, in your movie theaters. And it's just like, how did that person get allowed to be considered the premier performer of this music when they sound horrible? When they sound horrible. Oh man, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And the thing is, I kind of, part of the reason I want to see Encanto is not because of Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's because I really like what Disney does with Latin American themes, or at least what they've done recently. Like Coco, to me, is still one of Disney's best modern productions. I think that the movie is gorgeous. I think that the music is great for that movie. And I love the storytelling in Coco. Also, I love the fact that, like, it has real meat. Like, it has real consequences to everything that happens in Coco. And so I was really looking forward to Encanto for that. But like I said, I just don't want to put anything in Lin-Manuel's pockets. But I love Coco. And I love Latin culture and Latin music. And I think I've told you guys before, but I went to middle school and high school in El Paso, which is a border city here in the United States. It's in the state of Texas, but it runs smack dab along the Mexican border. So growing up in that town, I listened to tons and tons of Spanish language music. So like, I was in high school when Selena was killed by Yolanda, and fuck Yolanda forever. That bitch. Woo! Yolanda. If you know Yolanda, you know Yolanda. If you've ever watched the movie Selena, you should know Yolanda. Anyway, I was in high school when Selena was shot and killed. I remember being at the bus stop and someone at the bus stop saying, "Oh my God." And everybody was like, "What's going on?" Like, the radio said that Selena's been killed. And like, girls breaking down crying in the parking lot for the buses as the buses were picking us up to take us home from school. And then like the next day, anybody who had went to Selena's concert when she was there last year, they all had on their Selena t-shirts. And I was jealous because I didn't have a Selena t-shirt. But like, Spanish music has a soft spot in my heart. I love a lot of different kinds of Spanish and Portuguese language music. So I love salsa. I love cumbia. I love norteños music. I love Brazilian music. Oh my gosh, who doesn't love bossa nova? I remember when Buena Vista Social Club was a big thing, and I actually bought the first Buena Vista Social Club album. My favorite song on that album is Candela. Candela, Candela. I like that song. Anyway, long story short, I love the Romance languages. I love the way that Spanish sounds when it is sung. I love the way that Portuguese sounds when it is sung. And so I was looking forward to Encanto for that because, like I said, I have a real love for Spanish culture. I don't think that if I grew up somewhere else, I would feel that way. But like I said, the years I spent living adjacent to Mexico makes me just love Spanish culture. So I've been debating on how I want to do things, but I'll figure it out. Speaking of movies, television shows, the like, Since I already advertised that me and Mason do a lot of media critique on his channel, I want to let you guys know we're going to be doing Call Me By Your Name, which is a movie that came out several years ago. It stars Timothy. I was about to say his last name wrong because in my house I always call him Timothy Shalimar. I know that's not his last name, but that's what wanted to come out of my mouth is Timothy Shalimar. But I think it's Timothy Chalamet and Armie Hammer, and it is one of Mason's favorite movies, if not his favorite movie. And I've been kind of prepping myself to watch this movie because I haven't watched it. My daughter Stevie, she's watched it many, many times. For a while there, she was kind of obsessed with Timothy. I personally, I didn't get the appeal. I still don't get the appeal. I watched him in Dune. He's a great actor. Dune was a really entertaining movie to watch, but I still don't get the appeal. I'm sorry. He's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, I've been prepping myself for watching Call Me By Your Name because I really want to give it a fair shot. I really want to give it a fair shot because I feel like it does me no good to go into a conversation if I'm kind of listening to everything that everybody else is saying about this. Like, I want to go into it clean. So I've been trying to figure out, like, what movies have I heard the same kind of discussions about that I could be like, okay, those are movies that I like that people really hate, and maybe that's something I can relate to. And it made me think of this one movie that I remember watching when I was a teenager that I was like, oh shit. And it has affected me for the rest of my life, this movie that I watched. And it was a movie that when it came out, a lot of people hated it. And it's a movie that I am not sure if anybody watching me currently has ever seen. So when I was a teenager, there was a movie that came out just called Kids. That's all it was called. It wasn't called anything else. So if you try to search it up on the internet, it's kind of difficult because the movie's literally just called Kids. It came out in the 90s. You probably could find it though because Chloe Sevigny was in that movie. It was like her first big acting role. Her and Rosario Dawson were both in that movie. But it's a movie that came out in the 90s. And it was a movie that starred kids between the ages of 13 and 17. And when I say kids, I'm talking real kids. This movie came out in the 90s. Chloe Sevigny was a kid in the 90s. She was a teenager. She was a teenager in this movie. This movie had real teenagers in that. I need you to remember this because it's important. This movie had real teenagers in it. Now I'm going to tell you the plot of the movie. The plot of the movie is that there is a guy who is a skater boy, and he hangs out with a bunch of other kids, and they skate and smoke weed and have house parties and get drunk and have sex. And he is known by his friends as the virgin hunter because he likes to find girls who've never had sex before and have sex with them, right? And Chloe Sevigny's character is a girl that he had sex with once in the past. She goes to a clinic because she wants to get an STD screen because a friend of hers had herpes and she was like, oh, I've had sex before unprotected. I'd like to go ahead and get tested for that myself. And she goes and gets tested, finds out she has HIV. And she's like, how is this possible? I've only ever had sex with one guy in my entire life. How the hell did I get this? So she's friends with Rosario Dawson, and she tells Rosario Dawson, like, I have to find him because I know his reputation, and I know that he's probably going around giving sick dick to other girls. So the whole movie is about her journey through the city to try to find this guy who gave her HIV. And during the course of the movie, this guy has sex with 2 more girls, unprotected, teenage girls, and they have scenes of them simulating sex, teenagers. Now, none of the teenagers in this movie expose any genitals or chest, nothing like that. So it's not child pornography. However, there's like, a sheet over people and the movement of sex. And we finally get to the last scene of the movie, and Chloe Sevigny's character manages to make it to a house party that she heard that the guy was in, and she was going to go confront him and tell him that she has HIV. And somehow or another, she ends up getting a hold of a drink, and I think the drink was maybe roofied or something, because she ends up passed out before she has a chance to tell him, hey, I've got HIV. As she's passed out on a couch, and while he's having sex with the second girl he's had sex with in this movie so far, the same day, this all happens in one day, she's on the couch, passed out. One of this guy's friends goes up to her and is like, hey, are you okay? Are you awake? Are you okay? And of course she can't respond because she's been drugged. He then proceeds to rape her. And that's it. That's the end of the movie. That's it. And I remember when that movie came out, people were pissed. They were like, first of all, how can you put real life teenagers in these sexual positions? This is gross. This is disgusting. How dare you? Then next, nobody wants to hear about the sex lives of teenagers. That's just disgusting. Also, HIV. We're all scared of HIV because it's the 90s. You know, the fact that it didn't have a happy ending, nothing got resolved. In the movie, it's just implied this kid is going to go around and continue to give more and more girls HIV. And it was a heavy thing. It was a really heavy thing. But I remember watching that movie as a teenager, because I was around the same age as everybody at that time, and watching it and thinking like, I am never going to have sex without a condom in my life. I'm never going to let anybody touch me. I'm never going to take a drink from a stranger. Like, to me, that movie was like, it was better than any after school special anyone could have shown me. It was better than any kind of sex ed you could have given me. It was better than any of that. That movie encouraged abstinence in teenage me. Like, I stayed abstinent for a really long time. And when I finally did start having sex, I'm like, I brought my own condoms. Thank you very much. Here you go. Enjoy that. Because I didn't want to be one of those kids. I didn't want to be one of those kids. And so for me, it was a very valuable movie. It portrayed something that society found disgusting and gross and inappropriate. And these actors were doing things that nobody wants to imagine real kids doing. But the movie itself had so much value because it was made in a really real way. Like, these kids were talking like actual kids. They didn't sound like they were Josh Whedon written characters. They sounded like real kids. And so I felt like I could relate to them, and it made everything that they were doing feel hyper real. And because of that, I was like, okay, this shit could really happen. And because of that, I'm going to stay away from boys and sex for a long, long time. So I was thinking about that because I'm thinking with Call Me By Your Name, I think one of the big problems that people have is that the movie portrays a relationship that no one wants to see and that no one approves of, and it doesn't do a lot to condemn that relationship necessarily. If anything, it feels like the movie, from the way that people describe it, it feels like the movie romanticizes the relationship. But then I was thinking about it because I was talking to my daughter about it. And I was, from her description, because like I said, she watched it a lot. From her description and the way I feel about the way I've heard it talked about, I think Call Me By Your Name is very much done from a frame of reference the same way the TV show Euphoria is done, where you've got people who are grown-ups and they're writing this material and making these movies, media, whatever else, as a way to examine things that maybe happened to them when they were younger, to examine kind of their mindset at that time, understanding as an adult that obviously this is wrong, this should not have happened, this is inappropriate. But remembering how they felt to be in that place at that time, and how all these bad decisions and all these bad ideas at the time didn't seem like bad ideas, didn't seem like bad decisions, made them feel some kind of different way. Like, you know, Rue in Euphoria makes a ton of really bad decisions based on the fact that she is a teen going through a lot of personal trauma, and she doesn't have the capability, she doesn't have the tools needed in order to make the best decisions. She doesn't have the gift of hindsight. And I feel like, even though I haven't seen the movie yet, I feel like this relationship in Call Me By Your Name is something that if you are that teen having this relationship with this adult, as a grown up, you may look back at that and say, I should never have a relationship with this adult. I wasn't nearly mature enough for the things that I did. I wasn't nearly in the place in my life where I should have been making these decisions. This wasn't the best idea. And as an adult myself, I would never do this thing. But I'm filming this from the way I felt at that time. And at that time, I felt sexy, I felt mature, I felt loved, I felt all these things because, again, I didn't have the gift of hindsight. I didn't have the tools to approach it with the level of maturity that maybe I would given another 10 years. And that's the thing that I think needs to be thought about. And it's the thing that I'm going to try to go into the movie with. Like I said, haven't seen it yet, don't know anything about it other than what I've been told. So I could be completely inaccurate on this, but like, again, grown-ups make media. Grown up, every piece of media that you're seeing outside of like YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, all the media that has money behind it is being made by grown-ups. Even the movie Kids, was still being made by grown-ups. And a lot of it is grown-ups finally getting the resources, the access, and the time to reevaluate their life when they were a different age. And a lot of times they'll make media featuring teenagers that isn't necessarily intended for teenage audiences, but is really made for adult audiences to go back and reevaluate our mindsets at that time. But the problem is, you can't anticipate what audience is going to take what. Like Euphoria, in the minds of the people making Euphoria, they may not have intended for Euphoria to be a teen show. However, it does feature characters that are playing teen characters. And there isn't a lot of teen media, to be really honest with you. Like the days of like media specifically for teenagers like Degrassi and Hannah Montana and stuff like that, those days are kind of over with. And so teens are either watching cartoons and anime or they're watching grown-up shows. And so, yeah, teens are watching Euphoria. But I doubt that the people that make Euphoria are like, we're making this show for teenagers because this is what we want teenagers to do. No, more than likely, the 40-year-olds making Euphoria are like, I remember how I felt being a teenager. I remember how I felt like the media of my teen years didn't portray what we were really going through. And so I'm making a piece of media to reflect the realities of how I was living at that time and the things that my friends were going through and the things that we didn't see when we were coming up. And so I'm going to try very hard to be open-minded as I watch Call Me By Your Name, because I really and truly believe that if I don't go into it with that mindset, I'm really going to like be fucked up by it, or I'm going to be angry about it. And I don't want to be angry about it. I don't want to, because I want to give it a fair shake. And also because I feel like it deserves a fair shake. It deserves a fair shake. I mean, obviously it had something going for it. Otherwise people wouldn't talk about it at all. It has to have something going for it. But yeah, that's what's been in my mind recently. Because I'm really trying to be better. Self-improvement is always on the menu. I'm always thinking about ways to do something a little bit different, a little bit better, be more than I was. Do y'all do the same thing? Like, do y'all ever do like self-audits? Because I do self-audits a lot. I don't always make the changes I need to during my self-audit. Sometimes I have a self-audit and I come back a few months later, I'm like, oh girl, you still haven't done what you were supposed to do. But for the most part, during my self-audits, I really do try to take myself to task for things that I feel like I've been closed up about and try to move myself more forward. And I think if anyone's been following me for the last, gosh, I think I've been on YouTube now for what, close to 8 years. If you've been following me for any of that time, I think you can see that I've been really trying, to be better. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. It's the only thing I can do. I don't have any alternative. I can either try to be better or I can stay stuck in place. And I've seen the consequences of staying stuck in place, and I don't want to be there. As an African American woman, I can tell you now that part of, well, not even an African American woman, as a black woman, let me say that, as a black woman, because there's first generation African Americans, and I don't think that's fair to them. As a black woman, there's such, there's so much culture in kind of ageism and the idea that once you reach a certain age, you don't have to be better. I don't know why that's a thing, but it's totally a thing. Like we call it auntie culture, kind of. It's where once you get a certain age where you can be considered an aunt, you no longer have to grow. You no longer have to be more awake to social issues. You no longer have to be accepting of certain things. You're allowed to start closing yourself off. And a lot of times in Black culture, we make excuses for the ignorance of our elders in saying that, oh, it's because they're old. And you can't change an old person. Old people are allowed to have backwards opinions about things. Old people are allowed to be offensive towards younger people. And our job as younger people, if you're the younger person, is to try to skirt around the old people in your life, try to keep your stuff hidden from them, try to create as little conflict as possible. But I think about like how old people have hurt me. I thought about some of the mean things that old people have said to me, the kind of mean shit old people have done. And I made it my mind fairly early on that I wasn't going to be one of those kind of people. I wasn't going to be the kind of old person that I couldn't acknowledge when maybe I had been wrong about something, or I wasn't going to be the kind of person who's going to live a life saying, well, my opinions have been my same opinions for the last 40 years and nothing can change that. No matter how much new information I get, it is what it is. Deal with it. Because honestly, we're in a new time and place. I don't know if y'all have noticed it, but I've absolutely noticed it. We're in a new time and place, and people are going low to no contact with their folks. It used to be that people would live with family members who are extremely hurtful, extremely pessimistic and narcissistic and abusive, and they would just let it slide. And they would allow generational trauma to build and build and build and build. But now we've got a whole new generation of people, mainly due to social media, who are talking to each other and telling each other, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. If my mama thinks that she could be mad at me because I'm a queer, or she thinks she could be mad at me because I decided not to have kids and that I'm just going to take care of her and let her spit abuse at me, that bitch has got another thing coming. And there's a lot of people who are like, I'm not going to be taking care of my old people. I'm not going to be worried about their health care or their housing as they get older because they didn't care for me. And I don't know. I don't expect my child to like just totally take care of me when I get older, but I'd like to be the kind of person that she'll visit one day. Like I'd like to be in a position where she's like, hey, I feel like calling my mom, or I feel like going to see my mom. I don't want to die alone because I wasn't willing to move with time and be a better person, a person that was worthy of my child's presence in my life. But there are a lot of people, especially in the Black community, who like just aren't trying to be progressive at all and aren't willing to re-examine themselves and their biases. I cannot tell you how many people in the Black community, especially older, who are racist, straight up. And I know there's some people who say you can't be racist if you're Black. I don't subscribe to that mentality. I think you can be. But there's a lot of Black people who hate Asians. There's a lot of Black people who hate Mexican, Latin people. There are a lot of Black people who've got a lot of mean shit to say about other POCs. And they don't see it as a problem because they're like, well, I am an underprivileged, or I'm a minority, or I'm a POC, therefore, because I don't have a role of power, my prejudice against other POCs doesn't count. But then when you maybe have somebody like Aquafina who's out here with her Black scent, and we're like, that feels racist to me as a Black person. But then when we're talking about, Chinese people are responsible for coronavirus, like, sis, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And so that's the reason why, like, I feel a responsibility to be better and not be the perpetrator of these backwards ass ideas. Because I cannot tell you how many Black people I have known who are racist against Latin folks, but at the same time hollering about their rights not being respected. And it's crazy to me that they don't see the hypocrite in them. They don't see the hypocrisy at all. So trying to be better for that. But also the respect aspect of it too. For some reason, in the Black culture, a lot of us believe that if you get old, all of a sudden you are allowed to disrespect anyone younger than you because somehow or another you managed not to get yourself killed. You've managed to make it to old age. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all because, like, we're all still human beings. We're all still human beings, and we're all still entitled to be treated with respect and dignity and every other positive adjective until we prove ourselves to be an asshole. But old people, especially in the Black community, once they get old, they just expect that everyone should just put up with their bullshit and not question, the fact that you're homophobic, not question the fact that you were an alcoholic and a deadbeat dad and that you treated your kids horrible and yelled at them and whooped them and everything else, that those kids should still want to be around you and still take care of you and still be there for you in all aspects. And it's like, no. The generational trauma stops here, and I'm not going to be around for you for this stuff. Personal story. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. I was raised by my mom and my stepdad. My stepdad I've known since I was 2 years old. So, like, before I even knew most men, I knew him. And him and my mom had been together for quite a long time. And he died, I think it's been close to 5 years now. He died about 5 years ago. And he died completely alone. Completely alone. When I say alone, I mean no one in the room, no one in the house. He died alone. And he died alone because he treated his family shitty. He was an alcoholic. He was a womanizer. He was a narcissist. He was abusive. I got my fair share of whoopings from him, but even more painful than the whoopings was all the times he told me that I was a fatso who was going to die of a heart attack, that I was stupid, that I was worthless, that I was bringing him down and I was ruining his life. And finally, we got to a point in our relationship when I told him flat out, we're no contact. Don't you ever call me. I'm never going to pick up the phone for you. Don't you text me. I'm never going to respond to you. You need to act like I don't exist because I'm about to act like you don't exist. And for years, I didn't talk to him until he got diagnosed with terminal cancer. He got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer that metastasized to his bones. He broke a hip. It was kind of close to the end. And I felt like I didn't want my daughter to have her grandfather die without seeing him one last time. So I broke my own no contact rule and I went to go see him. I took my daughter with me. They spent some time together. We took some pictures. Then we left. Several months later, he passes away. Not even several. I would say maybe 2 to 3 months after we went to visit him, he passed away. He died alone. He did not want to go to a nursing home near his family. He expected his family to come move in with him. We told him no because he was an abusive asshole. And just because he got cancer, that shit didn't stop. He was a narcissist. He expected us to quit our jobs and relocate to another state to be with him, to take care of him in his time of need. Again, narcissism. No, we're not going to, narcissism, we're not going to do that. We're not going to quit our lives to be with you after you did everything you could to push us away. And so he lived with his brother in his last days. His brother left to go to the store to do something, and his brother was the only person at the house at the time. And when his brother came back home, my stepfather was dead. He died alone. He took his last breath by himself instead of holding the hand of anyone in his family. And he earned that ending. That's the thing. Even though he was my stepdad, and even though there was a time in my life where I loved him very, very much, he earned that ending because he wasn't willing to self-audit. He wasn't willing to be a better person. He wasn't willing to try harder. And so I've taken that lesson with me and really internalized that. And I'm very actively trying to be better, because to me, that is the nightmare. Like, there's certain things in my life that I never want to have happen. That's one of them. I don't want to die alone. I don't want to die alone. I want the people that I love to love me back. I'm not going to twist myself into knots to make that happen. But if it's just about me getting smarter, or me being more conscious about the world, and maybe me being more understanding about certain things that I didn't understand previously, I can do that much. I can at least do that much. But a lot of people, they can't. And we're now in a time where if you can't change, you're about to learn some really hard lessons really late in the game. Too late to change. But I want to put that out there. I want to also share something wild with you. Wild with you. Listen, this has nothing to do with boys love, even though it does have to do with boys love. Because I know some of y'all don't care for boys love, but I have to talk to you about it because it's super important to me. Stevie, could you do me a favor? Could you go into my purse in one of the side pockets and pull out my cell phone, please? So, I told you guys that I watch BL, and there's a show that I've talked to you guys about before when I talk about BL. It's a show called Tharntype, and Tharntype is a show that features two actors, one named Mew and one named Gulf. And one of the actors, an actor named Gulf, I would say that Thailand is a lot like Korea in that they expect their idols to do everything. If you feature in a movie, you're also expected to sing, you're also expected to dance. But one of the things that they do in Thailand, which is a little bit different, is that if you star in a really popular television show or a really popular movie, they make you do these fan events. And these fan events, basically, you do stuff that you did not do in this show. So let's say that you did a show where you played a doctor and you fell in love with one of your patients and you guys had a steamy romance, and then the patient dies of diabetes or cancer or something like that. You then do a fan event where you dance to K-pop songs and sing. Again, has nothing to do with what you did on the show. It's just a thing that they expect you to do. These fan events. And this BL that I watched called Tharntype had two lead actors. One of them was named Mew, one of them was named Gulf. The one actor by the name of Gulf did a fan event. And he's not a great actor. He's a passable actor, but not a great actor. But even less than being a great actor, he is not a great dancer. And he is not a great singer. And he decided that he was going to do a dance and sing a song for his fan event, and he decided to do Justin Bieber's Yummy. I'm not going to show you the clip. I'm going to play it though because I need you to hear it. I need you to hear it because I need you to hear it. I need you to hear it, and I need you to understand that a person went in front of a live audience, and this was the vocal that they had to give to their audience. It is one of the worst vocal performances I've ever heard from somebody claiming to be a professional. Y'all. That's not even his best y'all. I also have another performance I'm going to share with you of him performing Kill This Love. Now, I will tell you, he takes Blackpink's Kill This Love and he does Thai lyrics. So that's important to remember. But still, I'm going to play this for you because, again, what?
You smart. 누가 유아 주는애 피눈문 흐른 게 최남연 소설 누가 유아 나 어떡해 나 약한 난 견딜 수 없어 서투는 가인체 사랑의 숨정은 그너 약했어 Let's kill this love Yeah yeah yeah
I'm gonna stop now.
Wait, no, I want to hear the rumpa-pum. Does he do it?
Listen, if you wanna see the performance as well as hear it, just look up "Kill This Love" Gulf, Gulf. People paid money to go to a theater, an auditorium, to listen to this person sing this song. Now, I am not a singer. I don't proclaim to be a singer. I like to hum a little bar here and there. I like a good tune. But my God, like, why wouldn't he just pay somebody to sing the song for him and then just lip sync? Like, I would have done that. I would have been like, you know what? I can't sing. I will pay somebody to sing and I will lip sync.
No, he got merit.
I cannot believe that he went through rehearsals, dress rehearsals, dance practices. He went through all of this and no one said, hey friend, how about we go with a song that's a little less ambitious? How about we try Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Or I don't know, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Something. Instead they let him do this. And I'm not a big Justin Bieber fan. I like some Justin Bieber stuff. I'm going to tell you, I am a fan of some Justin Bieber stuff. I feel like Justin Bieber is a little bit too technical for this young man. I think that Justin Bieber is just a little too talented for him to try to approach that.
So what would be simple enough for gold?
I don't know. Baby Shark. Baby Shark.
The Kid Leroy.
I mean, no one expects you to like have runs if you're singing Baby Shark. So that's why I'm saying it'll work. But like, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. Like, you can't sing it completely flat. You cannot sing it completely flat. You have to give it some roundness, some curve. Yeah. So I know that y'all don't care anything about Boys Love. I get that. But if you want a good chuckle, like an actual belly laugh, look up Gulf, Kill This Love. You will not be disappointed because there's a whole stage performance with this, by the way. Like, he's wearing like a full costume, got a stage full of dancers while he is performing this song. Like, this is a serious approach. I know y'all were like, he can't be serious. He cannot be serious. He's absolutely fucking serious. Dead fucking serious. Not only that, but you might be under the impression that because his voice sounds like that he's an unattractive kid. No, he's a very attractive young man. He looks like an idol. Like, if you just looked at him and you couldn't hear his voice, you'd be like, oh man, he's so hot. Then you hear him sing, and it's just like, again, why would y'all do this to him? Why would y'all make him come out here and do this? This is not fair. This is not right. Maybe he could have done a rap song. Maybe he could have done like Bad and Bougie by the Migos. Like, I'm gonna show it because I let you guys hear it, but I'm gonna go ahead and show it because I feel like that's important. Let's see. So. See? He looks like a fucking K-idol. Camera work, angles, lights, dancers. Like, they gave him the full setup to perform like this. Pyrotechnics!
Let's kill this club. Rum, bum, 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 bum. We are committed to love. Let's make you cry.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not gonna do no more. I'm not gonna do no more, guys. I'm not gonna do no more. But yeah. Man, when people say that pretty privilege is not real, pull up that fucking video. If anyone in your life ever tells you that pretty privilege is not real, that beautiful people have the same disadvantages in life that ugly people have, and that it doesn't matter about your looks, what matters is what's in your heart and what's in your head and the quality of your character, tell them people to suck a nut and then show them this video. If that's not the best example of fucking pretty privilege you've ever seen in your life, like, honestly, this kid has a great looking face, and so they let him get away with that because he's good looking. Ooh, also, just as a treat, if you look up this performance and then you decide you need to watch him singing Yummy, I just want to warn you now, he pole dances as he sings Yummy. Yeah. He works the pole for that one. So enjoy. I hope you have a wonderful time. I'm glad I got to talk about random things. I don't get to talk about fun stuff enough. I mean, it got a little deep in there, but then like we closed out the book with some really fun stuff. If you have any more like just silly shit you want me to see, watch, hear, I'd be more than welcome to watch it. If I have any more silly shit like this that I could share with you guys, I'll absolutely share it with you. But that right there, crying, laughing, and then also bitter as shit. Like, why couldn't I have been born beautiful? Because if I had been born beautiful, I probably wouldn't be talking to you on YouTube, to be honest with you. Like, honestly, if the Lord had decided to give me my current intellect, my current personality, plus give me like a banging body and a beautiful face, I would be busy fucking somebody's billionaire. I would be busy. Oh, that reminds me. I remember what I wanted to talk to you guys about many, many days ago, but I couldn't figure out how I would work it into a conversation. But since we're not talking about K-pop stuff tonight, I could talk about this now. So y'all know that Kanye West has got a new girlfriend. Her name is Julia Fox. And he has been out and about around the town showing off his new girlfriend, and the internet is abuzz. There's a few different schools of thought regarding Kanye West and this relationship. A lot of us who have been following Kanye West's career for a minute and his subsequent breakdowns and everything else, we feel like Kanye West is suffering from untreated mental health disorders. And I firmly believe that with my whole spirit. I feel like Kanye West is more than likely bipolar, but I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist. I'm not qualified to diagnose anybody with anything. But just from watching some of his various social media performances and the like, I am assuming that Kanye West more than likely has bipolar disorder, definitely like clinical narcissism, if that's even a thing. But Kanye West, as you may be aware, is married to Kim Kardashian. They're currently still legally married, and they have separated. Kim has filed a request with the court to grant her a legal separation, or at least let her legally be classified as single, so that any moves she makes from here on out are her own moves that have nothing to do with him. And Kanye West, for a hot minute there, when she first started dating Pete Davidson, he was all in the press trying to get his wife back. I don't know if he necessarily wanted Kim Kardashian back because he realized his mistake in wanting to divorce her, or if he wanted her back because he couldn't stand the idea of another man touching the mother of his children. I would say it's probably the latter, because he got on this like super religious kick in the last few years, and he's been like, I don't want my daughter wearing makeup. I don't want my daughter on social media. I don't want my daughter being anything but a virgin when she gets married, which, high key, any man obsessed with the virginity of his child, especially his female girl child, that's just disgusting. That's just mad disgusting. Any man who looks at his baby girl and is like, I really hope you don't bust it open for nobody until you're married. What? Gross. Yuck. Do you guys remember when T.I. made his daughter get virginity checks? Just thought I'd throw that out there as a side note. Anyway, recently in the news, Kanye West has been complaining about the fact that he says Kim won't let him go to his daughter's birthday party. He bought the house across the street from his kids because he wanted to have better access to his kids. He just, a bunch of things are happening with him and Kim in their relationship. But in the meantime, in between time, after begging his wife to come back home, he was still dating. Like, while he was begging his wife to come back home, he was dating models. Before he asked his wife to come back home, he was dating models. After his wife, he was telling her to come back home, he started dating models. Well, he recently took up dating with this lady named Julia Fox. And Julia Fox is an it girl, I guess. I don't know. So there's this, I saw a TikTok about Julia Fox recently. And the TikTok, it was a white creator. And she was saying, oh, you guys just don't know it, but Julia Fox is kind of a legend. She's kind of a badass. So apparently Julia Fox recently came into like mainstream attention because she was in a movie called Uncut Gems that starred Adam Sandler. And so people started paying attention to her. But prior to her being in Uncut Gems, she was known to be a model about town. She actually modeled in a spread with Pete Davidson at one point for a magazine. She was a model. Also, apparently she was like a New York kind of it girl. She wrote about the fact that she was a dominatrix while she was in high school. She did a short movie about her and her friends busting up a prostitution ring in Vegas, I believe. She did an art exhibit where she had paintings that used her own blood to be made, and like she led this really spicy life according to this TikToker. And now she is with Kanye West. And she has been putting out a lot of statements about their relationship. Kanye West really hasn't been putting out that many statements about their relationship, but she's been like doing interviews and like really doing a lot. She's calling them Julie. That's their couple name according to her. But one thing I found really interesting about this whole scenario, because I tend to be one of those people that I watch social media and things come up and I don't look for them, but they come up and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. She talked about their first date. And according to her, on their first date, Kanye West gave her an outfit to wear, took her and her friends to dinner. They held a photo shoot inside the restaurant, and according to her, everyone in the restaurant were clapping for them, which if I was in a restaurant and somebody started doing an impromptu photo shoot and I was expected to pay for my meal, I would not be clapping. I would be contacting the management and be like, I know this meal's got to be free because I didn't sign an NDA and I don't want to be a part of this photo shoot. But I digress. Then after the photo shoot, they go to a hotel room that is filled with clothes, and Kanye West says, throw all your old clothes away. I got you a brand new wardrobe. So she gets this brand new wardrobe, and now all of a sudden she's got this makeover, and she's telling the media like, I deserve this makeover. I feel like all my life I've been caring for other people. It's time that somebody cares for me. Kanye West is a genius. He's amazing. He's changing my life. All this stuff. Anything he asks her to do, she does. And I'm fascinated. Now I know I started this whole thing about like news that doesn't affect us. Why do we give a fuck about it? And I'm still stand by that. But the reason I find this fascinating is because Julia Fox is a fucking fox. She's a fucking fox. If you know game, you can spot it from a mile away. And I don't have heavy game. I have very light game, which is why I haven't gone further in life. But I recognize game. Julia Fox is playing Kanye West like a Stradivarius violin. She is playing the fuck out of him. And I'm here for it. I cannot wait to see how this whole thing turns out. So, people were criticizing Julia Fox for being a gold digger. And she said, I'm not a gold digger. I've been fucking billionaires my whole life. And I think that the father of her child is rich. I think that she lived in like rich parts of New York growing up. I could believe her. But I really and truly feel that she is dating Kanye West with an ultimate goal. She's like, either I'm going to make this man marry me, and by extension, I'm going to be the next Kim Kardashian, or I'm going to make this man give me as many introductions as possible to as many important people as possible, get me all the way on, and once I get on enough, I'll either decide to be with him or I'll decide to leave him alone. And I'm fascinated by this. I am one of those women. I love hearing about how other women come up, whether it's by pussy or power. I don't care. I want to see your come up. And I feel like that's what's happening to her, because right after they had their first date, Kanye West did this listening party for his new song. His new song is trash. Don't bother with it. It's dumb. It's got a skinned baboon on the cover of the single. It's dumb. Anyway, they did a listening party for this song, and he invites Antonio Brown, Floyd Mayweather, a few other people, and Madonna. He invites Madonna to this listening party. Julia Fox is there because they've already had their first date. Now she's like white on rice. That's her man now. She's everywhere he's at. They have this listening party. In the song, he's threatening Pete Davidson, which is crazy to me because, like, you're dating a whole woman and you're worried about who your ex-wife is fucking. Get over it. Grow up. But Madonna, after the listening party, tells the media that she's in talks with Julia Fox to play Madonna in a biopic. Julia Fox, who, if you look at her IMDb, she has maybe a handful of projects. She's mostly known as a model slash artist slash like knitwear designer. After going on a date with Kanye and going to a listening session, she now has Madonna talking about playing her in her authorized biopic, which Madonna, of course, is a huge star. So any movie that Madonna makes about her life is going to get a huge profile. Look, people are going to check it out because of Madonna and her celebrity and Madonna's life and all the controversy that Madonna's had and everything else that is Madonna. Madonna is a global icon. So if she makes a movie about her life, yeah, it's going to be a topic of global interest. Julia Fox is finessing the fuck out of Kanye West into getting a full-blown career. I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. I cannot wait to see how the situation works itself out. Like I said, in terms of like personal stuff, whether they're fucking exchanging spit, whatever, I don't give a damn about that. I'm very interested to see what career moves Julia Fox makes from her time with Kanye West, because I don't believe that a girl who claims to have been a dominatrix in high school, who has managed to somehow or another continue to stay in the New York zeitgeist without ever actually having a real large, significant mainstream role, I feel like this girl has power. I feel like this girl has power. I feel like I don't consider her an icon. I don't find the stuff that she's done to be incredibly noteworthy to me personally, but like I feel like she is somebody who is used to being around people, and she can spot a simp from a mile away. And I think she spotted Kanye, she spotted him being a simp, and she knows how to play his game to get him to give her everything she wants. And I cannot wait to see how this saga develops, because I'm here for it. Just like Chen's wife, Chen from EXO, I still feel like she is a 5-star general when it comes to finessing a man. She managed to make that man not only hide their relationship for years, but she managed to somehow get the baby, get the marriage, and then get the second baby. Game recognizes game, girlfriend, and I'm here for it. Bobby's baby mama. Girl, how are you doing? How's marriage working out for you? How's the baby? Are you happy? I hope you're happy, because you deserve. Because you took a chance on trying to make Bobby wife you up, because he seems like a bit of a mess to me. But you did it, and I'm proud of you. Like, man, the only other girl who I think I hold in higher esteem than Chen's wife is Changmin's wife. Changmin's wife, that woman, I would pay to go to her TED Talk. I would pay to go to her TED Talk, because Changmin got married to a woman who we've never seen. We do not know her name. There were no photos released. She's not pregnant. They don't have any kids. He married her because he liked her. He married a woman because he liked her. And even though being an idol pays all the bills and most people want their idols to be single, Changmin looked at this woman and said, "You're worth it. You're worth any alienation of my fans that could possibly happen. I like you that much. We're getting married." That woman, I would love to sit at her feet and just hear the story of how she made that happen. I'd like to know, like, what she got. I'd like to take lessons. I'd like to take lessons. That is my one true vice, is I'm always interested in how to finesse these men. I'm always interested in how to finesse these men. I don't do it because I have a child, and not that having a child means you're not allowed to finesse a man, because actually Julia Fox has a child who just turned 1. I don't want to ever invite drama into my house as long as my child is in my house. If I'm going to have drama later on down the road, that's my personal business. I can do what I want. But as long as I have my child in my house, I'm not ever going to have a man up in here around my child. And it's a rule I made for myself. It's not a rule that I expect everybody else to get along with. But like, I remember growing up reading stories about women whose boyfriends killed their children. And ever since then, I've been like, nope, that's not happening over here. So I've always kept men out of my life, out of my child's life. But my child just turned 17, is about to be 18. And so the time is coming very, very soon when I will be able to start dating again. And I want to learn all the tips and tricks. I want to learn everything I need to. If there's some trick I got to learn with my tongue, if there's some trick I got to learn with my fanny, I want to learn all the tips and tricks, because yes, I'm invested. I'm invested. I love to see a come up. I love to see a come up. But anyway, just thought I'd put that out there. I wonder if Changmin's wife is rich, because we know nothing about her. Like, does anybody know anything about Changmin's wife? Not at all. And so I wonder, like, did he marry her because she's like an heiress and this is like a retirement plan for him? Or is she just like regular lady and he's like, you're beautiful and you're fun and I like you and I'm going to marry you? Like, I have so many questions about this lady. I have so many questions about this lady. But anyway, I'm going to go because I've now been talking for an hour and a half. Thank you for everyone who decided to stay, especially when you knew I was not talking about K-pop. When I started talking about stuff that no one was interested in, thank you for staying. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk later, I'm sure. I'm sure something will come up in K-pop land that we can talk about. I guess I'll make mention that I heard that Taeyeon's album is about to be sold out. So if you wanted to buy it, you better get on it. But yeah, it was a good time, guys. Y'all take care. Bye.